Hey, on this week's episode, we have Greg Sover, an amazing blues and rock guitarist and songwriter from Philadelphia, and returning guest to the pod to talk about his new album, History or History or His Story. We'll ask him how to pronounce it. And we also have a story about how Chrissie and I rode some electric scooters down in Baltimore and saw E.Joseph and the Phantom Heart get back together on stage at the Auto Bar. Those are the members of the band that wrote our theme music that we listen to every episode. So all that and hopefully a lot more. The JAGcast starts right now.
Now we're here with a torch. Now we're here. Can you recognize a rescue party? We've finally come for you. Translucent new crusaders with no agenda, no agenda.
Hey, I'm Miss Chrissy,
And I'm Steve.
and this is JAGcast, episode 126, the podcast of the Jenkintown Arts Garage.
That's right, where we like to speak to artists, entrepreneurs, and other interesting people at the intersection of the arts and technology. And today is a really good episode because a little bit later, we're bringing on Greg Sover, who's a rock and blues guitarist out of Philadelphia and returning guest to the pod. Way back in episode 103, Getting Emotional with Greg Sover. If you remember that one, Chrissy, that was a good time.
I do. Yeah, that was a fun one.
And he has a new album called His Story, History. I really got to figure out how to say that. But it's an amazing album, and hopefully we'll have a good discussion about that. But before that, we just couldn't start the show without talking about our adventure down in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we on Saturday from for you guys listening, it'll be a couple weeks ago, but Steve and I took a adventure down to Baltimore. This was his birthday adventure, so he didn't know it was happening until we got in the car, and I took him down to Baltimore to see E.Joseph and the Phantom Hearts, and that is Ed Neenan, and who is a friend of ours, and the band that actually wrote our podcast music.
Yeah, the music you just heard. And
we
you'll
heard
hear
it live.
again.
Yeah, we heard it live on Saturday night. It was fun.
Yeah, Ed actually dedicated the song to me, the Rescue Party. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was your birthday present from Ed.
Yes, that's like at least the second time he's dedicated a song to me. He's also done Rabbit Hole because that's my favorite song from his other band.
Yep. Yeah, so did you have a good Baltimore adventure, Steve?
I did. I besides seeing Ed, that was the best part. I walked into there and he was surprised. I thought he knew we were coming, but
He did. I think he was
he
kind of
acted
playing it off a little bit, but
he acted
whatever.
surprised. But anyway, it was a good time. We haven't seen him in like 2 years, so that was obviously the best part. And the whole time at the Auto Bar, and that was really fun. But I also really enjoyed how we got on those electric scooters that are all over the place in Baltimore.
Yes, it's really cool. So in like the Inner Harbor area, they have those little like rental scooters, which you can talk about in a second because it's like an app, and I didn't do any of that part. But I was down there a couple months ago with my kids, and I was like, oh, these are fun because it's like you just pick up a scooter and you drive around and then you park it, and and the weather is beautiful and it's on the water by Baltimore, so it's really pretty. I mean, I know most people usually use them for transportation, but it made like for a nice little tour around the Inner Harbor.
Yeah, I think the app I used was the Spin app. But so the thing about this is interesting because we're from the Philly area, and Philadelphia, I think, basically has a stuff banned. They're called like dockless electric vehicles or dockless scooters, and I think they're basically banned because I never see them anywhere in Philly, and I don't. They have bikes you can rent, but not like these electric scooters. So we get down there and we go to our hotel and we look around the Inner Harbor. They're just everywhere. Like everywhere, and they cluster in certain areas because the company is smart and I think gives you like credits if you drop them off in certain areas. But it's pretty easy to set up and use, and they fast. Got me up to 9 miles an hour according to its speedometer. And
I think they're fun. And then I borrowed my friend's electric scooter today, actually, and delivered a frame to you on it and drove through the streets of Jenkintown.
So that scooter, so the comparison between these two scooters, like that scooter goes to like 20 miles an hour or more, I think, the one you rode today.
No, the one, my friend's scooter goes 35 or 40.
Yeah, 35, 40. Yeah, it depends on your weight and what level you turn it on. You were at level 1 and you were still motoring down. But yeah, those things are cool.
It cool on the first day.
I want to buy an electric scooter now. I want one. I want one that goes 40 miles an hour.
They are kind of fun. I'm thinking it might be a viable option as extra transportation when my kid gets a car. I mean, when my kid gets her license. So we'll see what happens though.
Yeah, Philadelphia should allow these scooters because they're cool. And you know what? They weren't really in the way. People seem to be pretty good about parking them. And part of the process was you were supposed to take a picture of how you park them. I guess if someone eventually looks at them, and then if you did a poor job, maybe they ban you or something. I have no idea what the consequences are, but I mean, most of them were parked reasonable locations, and I thought it was fine. It didn't look like the place was a mess or anything, and they were super convenient. I saw people zooming around all day, even in the middle of the night. So, so it was really cool, and and of course, seeing Ed was a lot of fun. So I hope to see E.Joseph and the Phantom Heart again in the Philly area sometime. Maybe I have no information about that, but it would be cool to see him up here.
Yeah, I agree. But for now, we will just have to take mini adventures to go see Ed. And I'm good with that. It's not so bad of a drive, and it was fun. Yes,
indeed. So I think it's time to introduce our main segment. Our guest today, as I said, Greg Sover. He's a friend of the pod here, and he's from the Philly area. Let me see. On his website bio, I have a quote here where he says, this is apparently Greg speaking on his bio. It's his view of music is all about who loves the music. It's all about crossing these boundaries, bringing everyone together, whatever your race, religion, or nationality. It's too late to stop now. Just go for it. The show must go on. And I think that is just great perspective to have. And that's why one of the many reasons we love Greg. Welcome, Greg Sover, to the show.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey. Welcome.
Yeah, glad you came back. Apparently, we didn't scare you away.
Oh, no, not at all. I had some...
Indeed. So, Greg, you have your main reason you're coming on the show here is because you have this new album. First, can you tell me how do I actually pronounce the title of the album?
It's his story, like my story, but his story. But I do play on the words. If somebody said history, I wouldn't get mad either. I did play on the words on in that sake.
Well, excellent, cool. Excellent. So, Greg, last time you were here, we talked about your previous albums because we had listened to the Jubilee a lot, yeah. And so maybe you could tell us a little bit for people who are new to you, because this is a new platform for us on YouTube here. Maybe you can kind of reintroduce yourself to our audience, and then talk a little bit about the history and how you came up with this latest album.
Yeah. Well, it starts out in Brooklyn, of course. Mom and Dad came from Haiti and came to New York, and I was one of 4 sons. I remember seeing my dad play this guitar, and I was staring at this guitar. It was just one of the most prettiest, sexiest things I've ever seen. And I remember falling in love with the guitar and having my first guitar by 5 and moving to Philadelphia. And fast forward to a teenager, I see this guy on TV, and he's playing these 2 notes, and these 2 notes belong to a song called Purple Haze, which is by Jimi Hendrix, and everything's been hooked. Fast forward, on this album right here, I'm actually playing with his bass player. I have 2 songs on this record with him, and I'm pretty proud of this. This is it was a challenge getting it to happen. It was a lot of tribulations. We had good friends of mine pass away. We had to change certain things around, but it came together. And to add the icing on the cake, I had great people play on there with me. Like I said, Billy Cox, who played with Jimi Hendrix. There's Dave Yarsikian from the Hooters. There's Kenny Aronson, Najashi Rashid. Dave Padlin, and I can't forget Jim Salomon, who helped me produce the record.
Amazing.
Nice.
And what's the label this is on? There's like a story behind that, isn't there?
Yeah, well, no major story other than it's my label.
That's the story. It's your label.
Yeah, Grounded Souls, and yeah, I on a side note, I highly encourage people to think about a label in this music business, in this crazy music business. But yeah, it's under my label, and the past couple records been distributed by the label.
Nice.
Nice.
So how long you been so your last Jubilee came out in 2018, and then obviously there was the pandemic, so I'm sure that threw everything off.
Which
But,
if you want to hear about Greg's experience in the pandemic, we talk about that in the last episode. I'll put it in the show notes.
But so how long you've been working on this album?
This album actually has been 2 years, just about. We went to Nashville to meet up with Billy around that time, and had a good time with him. But things, so much circumstances came about where I changed certain things around, and like I was saying earlier, I had some good friends of mine pass away. Rest in peace, Mike Tarzia. So we had to figure things out. So out of nowhere, a good friend of mine's Jim Salomon, who's actually cut from that Sigma cloth that Mike Tarzia is cut from. But Jim does his own thing at the same time. So we got together and we produced this record, and I'm happy and proud of it. I almost didn't think it was going to happen.
Nice. I'm glad it did, because it's pretty cool. The first track is I enjoyed that one. I feel like there's definitely Dark House. I feel like there's definitely
I keep thinking it's Dark Horse, but no. But there is a story behind Dark House, right?
Dark Horse, is that Katy Perry? Dark Horse or something?
Yes, it is. So
is?
once you know that, you will never confuse them again. He didn't know, I'm guessing.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's all right.
So what is the story behind Dark House? Isn't it? It sounds like a funeral song.
Well, Dark House was actually a story about not to get so I'm not that I'm going, but but it's about my mom who passed away, and going into this house where it would get dark at night because things wasn't working so well. So I had an aunt that's always lighting up the candles there to make sure the house stayed lit, things like that. So it's a story about dark times, and it's not that it's a song about the funeral. It's about it just happened around that time. The funeral just happened around that time.
Well, it's a beautiful song. Do you maybe we can play a little bit of the beginning of it?
Sure, no problem.
Let's see, so people can get a feel. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
There was a funeral. It was sad to let her go. I remember Auntie lighting up those candles, 'cause I can't see a thing. There have been dark days, dark nights, while I'm inside in this dark house. This dark house. This dark house. I'm hearing voices hum.
That's just a taste. You got to buy the album to hear the rest. No, that's a beautiful beautiful piece. It really starts out kind of hauntingly, and then when your vocals come in. I love your vocals.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
I mean, I know I introduced you as you're in my mind first and foremost a guitarist, because I love the guitar and I love your playing, and we talked about this last time. The first time I met you was at the Summer Music Series in Jenkintown, and I was just so impressed. I think I walked up and he was like, this is my music. Thank you. It's like, so yeah, that's just a beautiful. It's just a beautiful piece. You could really
a true story at the same time. And I was just turning. I was at the same time. It is coming up with a good song. That was one of the main things I wanted to do on this album was come up with good songs to where you grab new listeners at the same time. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a lot of variety to your music over the last albums you've done.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because it's all music to me. I've never looked at it as a box. I know I call it blues rock, and I consider myself more of a bluesman, but I do acknowledge and love all kinds of music. So I try to blend as much as I can, and I think blues allowed me to do that, where you could color outside the lines a little bit.
Indeed, yeah, I think it shows. You have a lot of cool songs. So Chrissie, what do you want to ask?
Oh, so I do have. This is not specific to the other songs that you and I had been chatting about, Steve, but
Yeah.
I have guitar questions.
Ooh.
So that red strat behind you, is that like your main guitar?
Oh yeah. This is Deserie. This is what I take out. Number one. This is what I take out everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah, album cover.
I saw that. And and not Jubilee, but the one before that, it was the album cover too.
Yes.
So what did you play on Jubilee though? Because that's like a totally different style guitar. Or was it?
That's a more of a resonator, dobro.
Yeah.
Called dobro. So yeah, that was used on a couple songs. Just I guess just my blues coming out a little more on that record. So I tried to just show a little versatility, and it fit the cover was so cool. So I was like, how can we not use this?
Yeah, cool. Well, I like your red guitar because I really like the color red. So and I like Stratocasters, so it works.
That's all the cool guys they played Strats.
It's true, and
nice whammy bar thing.
Yeah. And I really like the coat you're wearing on some of your album covers.
I appreciate that. Oh yeah. Try to appeal as much as I can, the best I can.
Yeah, you gotta have a look, and you got a good look going on. So, Deserie, that's the name of the guitar.
Yes, Deserie. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to get Chrissie to name her car because she loves her red SUV so much. And I was like, "What's the name of this thing?" She's like, "It doesn't have a name." But you got to have a name if it's your primary.
Yeah.
It has decorations. I mean, like I have a little monkey that I keep on the dashboard, and I have these like 3 squishy things. I don't know why, but my kids like threw them on the ceiling at our apartment once, and then somehow they ended up in my car. So anyway, it has random decorations, and my car is actually very funny because if you open up like this little compartment in the back, it's like you could find a solution to a lot of problems. Like there's straps, there's ballet shoes, there's like a random tablet back there, there's a standing block, there's some gloves. Like I'm ready for anything in that little compartment back there.
A survival kit.
Yes. But no name for the car. I should come up with something.
Yeah. So, Greg, before when we were preparing for this, Chrissie had reached out and asked about your songs you wanted to talk about. One of them was Dark House. Another one was Freedom Part 2. Where's Freedom Part 1? Is that on one of the other albums, or is it just a name?
Freedom Part 1 hasn't been released, believe it or not.
Oh.
Plan on releasing it. It was just I was challenged on Freedom Part 2 by Billy Cox's wife. Her name was Brenda, and she challenged me into taking a different approach and how I was talking about freedom. So I appreciate the challenge. So that's what came up.
Well, let's go listen to a little bit of Freedom Part 2 so people know what you're talking about. Here we go. Yeah, there's a lot of things in there that are representative of freedom for you. What was one of them? Breakfast? Did I hear that right?
No, I mean, well, no, not purposely. Let's put it like that.
But no, that was good. So what were some of the things in this song? Are the things you're listing off supposed to be your view of what freedom is, or like what is it? How am I supposed to interpret this from your
Well,
perspective?
it's more accent. It's more asking, what is freedom in a way? Because every time a step of freedom or um, uh, some type of I guess protest or fight or some type of heroic act that speaks about freedom is always challenged. It's always costing. It might cost somebody your job for doing something of freedom, or it might cost you your life. In some way, you ask for freedom, but at home you're shackled. There is really no freedom at home. So every time I try to take this step for freedom, I'm challenged. So is freedom really real, or what does it cost? Pretty much.
Yeah, it's true. True freedom does cost. It's not easily obtained or held.
Yes. Yes. Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I like that kind of streak in your music. It's deeper than you might expect, like a rock song, quote unquote, to be. I like it, and I like. Speaking of heroes, I like your other song from a while back called "Heroes." Right? Isn't that what it's called?
Heroes.
Heroes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah, the especially when it's especially when with the aggressive sound. I think when you're speaking about certain topics, for me especially, I think the aggressive sound really brings out that. I couldn't imagine a jazz version of those of me sing. You see what I mean? I think it's more of a yelling, not a yelling, but a um, you're getting your whole energy out, and I think with the aggressive music all around you, it works. It works that way. So some messages has to be brought to your face like that. So I try to keep that streak, but and in the sense of using it for certain times, I wouldn't want it to be all the time. I think that's where the versatility comes in at.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. So I really like it. So is this Freedom Part 2 your favorite of the album, or do you have a favorite?
I love every song, believe it or not. I remember not the challenge, but I remember the pre-production of these songs, and I remember saying to myself, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I think I got a cool album. I like the way everything just flows. I have no favorites on this one, and not trying to be politically correct or anything. Like I love every song for what it is because they're so different, but they're saying the same thing.
Nice. So, Steve, before I had even reached out to Greg, you had mentioned specifically song 28. So, what was it about? That's such an interesting name for a song. I'd love to hear the story behind that.
Well, I mean, good thing we have Greg here. We can ask him.
I
Yeah, I just really think it's a banger of a song, and yeah, the name is also interesting. I don't know. I'm curious too where it came from, and are there 27 other drafts or something before this one? I don't know, but I really do like this song. This was my favorite one from the album. Like it worked for me.
Yeah, well, this one, song 28, is you hit it on the nose. I wrote a lot of songs, and this one, I had a title for every song, but I guess this being the 28th song, I just titled it Song 28. It's kind of like it's kind of like just what I was thinking. There was no structure. It was really no plan. It was just putting music down and playing the guitar and saying something at the same time. So song 28 was a good hook for me. I think I was looking at it as if I keep it this title, I think people will click on this song. And I played long on this song.
Yeah, I love your guitar work, so that's probably why I like this one so much. But let's give it a listen. So
Yeah.
can understand, because I mean, Chrissy, you heard it already because we listened to it on the way down to Baltimore, but I've been listening to this one on repeat. So here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like a just starts out with an epic guitar solo. I love it. And I was debating whether to play the original version, or I had made like a trimmed version which cut out the very beginning, and then I said no, let's play it there, because I want to know what the story is behind that, because I don't know if the audience could hear it really well, but there's a little bit of like background dialogue maybe from a recording session or something that's included.
Oh yeah. This was us getting in the studio, and I was playing with Najashi Rashid on drums and Kenny Aronson, who played with the Yardbirds, Bob Dylan, extraordinary bassist out of I want to say a little outside of Philadelphia, and we got in there, and it took 2 takes to record this song. That banter you hear in the beginning, that was all in that 1 take. And this was all 1 take, no metronome. We just went in there and didn't care. That is raw as it is right there. And I really respect that, because everything I've been doing has been so structured. So it was good to let go and get that one out there for y'all. And that's only 2 takes. And I think that might have been take 1 from the 2 takes.
Wow. you just pick up a guitar, you just 1 take. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just the feel, the inspiration, it was just right. And I have to give it to the atmosphere, the musicians you're with. It's this thing, I can't call it, but it just happened. It was the magic, and then boom.
Nice. Gotta love a little magic, a little live magic.
Yeah, I think it's why I like it so much, because it feels like a live show.
Yes.
More than a produced album song.
Yeah, that was very important for me to put that in there, and that's me coloring outside the lines.
Indeed. So, Chrissy.
Yes.
What else we got on our notes here? So many things.
I know. Well, I mean, we should probably find out what Greg's up to in the near future, and then we also have to talk about a game called something.
Yes, but before that, I wanted to really quickly go back to something that Greg and I talked about briefly in episode 103, which was #SaveTheManuals. Yes, I'm bringing it back. Oh. Because, Greg, another interesting, and this is how we roll on the show, just kind of goes all over the place. But last time we talked, I had just done like a practice drive with my friend's WRX, and funnily enough, the same thing. Like yesterday, I did the same thing again. Like it's been long intervals between our practices, but I'm getting better. And so I'm like even more determined to get like a manual car before they're like outlawed or non-existent. And it's You know.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I really want to get one too, but I just had a child, and my girl does not know how to drive a stick shift. So, I'm thinking I might as well get another automatic just in case she might have to use that car. So
You're
maybe
headed to SUV land, is where you're
Yeah.
headed,
where
not
I'm headed.
manual WRX land.
Well, first, congratulations, and
Thank you, beautiful baby boy. Just turned 9 months, Damien.
Awesome.
wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome. But also, I didn't really know how to drive a manual, and I think you could argue that I still don't, based on my practice. But I'm getting there. I think anyone can. It was a lot of fun. We went to this area that was kind of like a really wealthier area full of quiet streets where nobody parks in the street. They all have driveways and actually use them. And so we're just driving around trying not to be too suspicious. And so like they don't call the cops on us from some weirdos driving around a WRX. But it was a lot of fun. I was able to actually get I didn't go fast because of residential area, but I was able to like, shift the gears up and down, and we saw some deer, had to deal with that, had to go around
yeah,
some obstacles.
yeah. Me, I never ran across a deer in the stick, but I could only imagine the clutch and everything, trying to get away from the deer. But yeah, I definitely want to get a stick. I definitely want to get a manual again one more time. Maybe after this SUV, like I said.
Yeah, they're like running out of manual cars to buy in the United
I
States.
know this. The states, they're almost not. There's no. It's all about convenience, and manuals are not convenient for a lot of people.
No, they're not convenient. But you know what? It is just so much fun. It was so engaging. Even driving like 25 miles an hour in a entry level sports car like a WRX is just a very different experience than driving Chrissie's SUV or my little Chevy Sonic now. And it just, every time I drive this thing, I'm like, yes, I want to go buy one right now, but I need to be able to drive home without stalling out on every hill. And it's the hill starts I'm like, it has hill assist, but not assisting enough for me. It was like, that was a hard one. That's the only time I would be stalling, was trying to do hill starts.
Oh yeah,
But I'm getting there.
if you get especially if you get a newer car that's a manual, you let's just say it's easier to get a used one first. But that's
Yeah.
a little used to when they're in a new car.
Yeah, it's you can't find the cars anywhere. It's just like, but it was fun. I was getting used to it at the end. I was able to do like move on a hill and stuff like that. It was just not like 100% reliably. So,
Yeah, not
but
me. It's getting it is a little practice you need. You
yeah,
just don't get in there and just ride a stick shift. You don't just do that.
no. But it's been going well. We're gonna do some more practice. Next one's gonna be a couple weeks because I have a conflict on the weekend. But we're just gonna keep doing this for several more times on weekends, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. If and when, and I think it's probably going to be more of a when than an if, I get like a manual, a WRX or something, totally gonna go for a ride, Greg.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you still in the area where we live?
Oh yeah, I'm still in Abington.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, still. What can I say? I'm not mad at Glenside. It's peaceful out here. It's not much. Good people. Can't complain.
Yeah, I know. We're still living in Jenkintown, and I would love one day to have a house, but that dream is just disappearing with the interest rates.
Hey, never stop dreaming.
No, just saving up. Someday I'll do it. I will do it. I'm determined. I'm gonna get a house.
There we go. That's how we speak. That's how we do
right.
it.
So that was I just had to talk about the manual transmission cars, Chrissy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like her eyes have glazed over now.
Hashtag keep manuals alive.
That's right. Keep manuals alive, indeed. So I think, Chrissy, did you want to move on to our very special game called something?
Yes, I did. So I'm ready.
Excellent.
Greg, do you remember how to play a game called something?
Just refresh my memory. I should be
Sure. You can't win, you can't lose. And, it's not actually a game, but it's okay. So you're going to choose a color. And then after that, I will choose a question. And then hopefully I don't cheat and just change the question, but you won't be able to tell because you can't see. And then we'll talk about it.
All right.
Yes, it's a question and answer activity where we learn something about each other, and usually goes off the rails at this point. The podcast.
All right, here we go. Hold
Okay,
on.
so you ready for the choices? We have
ready.
gray,
I'm ready.
Orange, yellow, brighter orange, and green.
My favorite one's brighter orange.
Yeah, let's start off with brighter orange.
There we go.
Brighter orange. Okay, let's see what's in brighter orange. These are more recent questions, so I'm not sure what that means, but whatever.
It means you wrote them more recently.
Okay. Oh God.
Every day she sees questions she doesn't like, and it's like you
know,
wrote them all.
Oh, I know, it's amazing. It's all right. What is your most, or actually, what advice would you give yourself at 16?
Ooh. I would say take your time, young man. Take your time. Yeah, take your time. Take your time. That'd probably be the main thing. I remember at 16 how fast I was trying to grow up, and now I'm looking at the world. It's like, you have time to do it all. So I would definitely tell my 16-year-old self, take your time.
Nice. Steve, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Probably buy Apple stock.
That would have been smart.
Because when I was 16, I was still into computers and stuff, but I wasn't an Apple guy yet. And it was at the time where Apple computer looked like they were teetering on collapse. This was in the late 90s. So I didn't really think that they were going to stick around. And, I probably should have bought as much stock as I possibly could find when I turned 18, whatever age I needed to be to buy it. I should have done that. But other than that, I would say maybe I probably would have told myself to maybe try to be a little less, try to be a little more outgoing, maybe a little less insular, because like there's no real benefit to that. I mean, it's not like I have to go out and be an extrovert all of a sudden, but I probably could have gone out more. As I see how the young people today just like don't do anything, I'm like, I was not doing something long before you were born. and it's like it seems like maybe that was not the best choice. Maybe I could have done some other stuff. And also I probably would have said to myself to I don't know, learn C++. I don't know. It's useful language. I don't know. I didn't learn it earlier. I don't know. I probably would have told myself to focus a little bit more on software development, because that's what I end up doing. But for a while there I was looking at other areas of tech. But mostly I would just say try not to be quite as much of the introvert. Try to go out more.
Nice.
I think that would have been helpful to me.
Good.
What about you, Chrissy? What would you have said to your 16-year-old Miss Chrissy self?
I probably would have told myself to just slow down a little bit. I'm a little high strung sometimes. And slow down a little bit. Especially on bigger decisions. So
Indeed.
That's what I would have told myself. Yeah.
And just as I have become more engaged with the world and reality of it over the years as I got older, I think you have slowed down intentionally as well. And when you have big decisions, and you know what, it's paying off dividends, because I don't know if you knew this, Greg, but Chrissy has grown her studio yet again. It's moving to a bigger, more badass location.
Oh,
closer to you, Greg, actually. So
yeah.
I'm
yeah.
moving to Wyncote Commons, over where the rock climbing place is.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well, that's what it's about.
Very.
Growing.
Yep.
It's about making things bigger. You started and it grows. That's what it's about. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a lot of work, but it's been well worth it. So I'm happy. It's good.
Okay,
All right.
what's the
Well,
next
shall we
color?
do another question? Greg, do you remember the choices, or do I need to remind you now that we've done bright orange? We have green, yellow, regular orange, and the lonely gray questions. But
Well, since we were just speaking about introverts. Let's go with the lonely gray question.
all right.
Again,
Okay.
I like to remind everybody, Chrissy wrote all of these questions. I had no input.
Well, a lot of the gray questions have been banned. So so now there's only 3 left.
Okay.
But here we go. What is something you miss from your childhood?
Mm. Believe it or not, I'm so connected to my childhood still that I kind of do, I kind of do it all, except for something that might have been too immature. But if it's video games or even or music, which I still do now, I'm so attached to my childhood. I swear it's not much different right now. But I guess the only thing I would say is my mom. Probably that would probably be the only thing.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yeah.
Steven, what is something you miss from your childhood?
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Greg. I also would miss my mom. She's not with me anymore. I probably would have been again if I go back to my 16-year-old self. There's something else I could say. Appreciate your mom more because she's not going to be here forever. But on a lighter note, things I would miss. I don't know. It's like it's weird. Like I could do whatever I want now. That things are like life is better now than when I was a kid. But one thing that I think is not necessarily better is the state of modern video games. I'm sorry, but I missed the 16-bit era. I'm sorry, man. The 16-bit era was the best. And I know that they have like retro games and you can play the old games, but I don't know. It just, what it is I would miss? It's not really a thing. It's like the feeling. It's that you get that when you think that you have that nostalgic feeling about the past. There was just something about when I was middle school and high school in the 90s, that was very different than today. We didn't have social media. We had the web, but it was slower pace. And like the feeling you got and like the summer days, I remember like just hanging out on summer days. It would be hot and maybe I'd be playing video games. Maybe I'd go play baseball in the neighborhood or something. But the one thing I wasn't doing was I didn't have a phone that I was looking at all the time. No one else did either. And I think it's not just nostalgia goggles. I think there really was like life felt significantly different because we didn't have these very recent inventions of specifically the combination of phones and social media. And I kind of miss that world. And whenever I see videos of like the 90s, I don't know. I don't think it's just nostalgia goggles, but maybe it just seems like people seemed a little more like free and like light in some respects, at least sometimes, because they didn't have the albatross of every single thing they do potentially being recorded and broadcast on the internet around their necks. So I want to go back to innocence. That's what I'm going to say, Chrissy.
The innocence of your childhood. Well, that's also nice. I think it is kind of interesting, and I wish I could tell my children, like how you're both like, oh, I miss my mom. But so mine is actually also about family. My mother's still alive, so I don't have to miss her. But when I was younger, my extended family lived much closer together, and I really miss those like big family holidays. It would be like Christmas with like 40 people, and that I really miss because everybody like has dispersed, and it's not I'm sadly I don't have any siblings anymore, but it was my like mom's siblings. She was one of 7, and they all were like geographically close. So it'd be like my aunt and my cousins and my this and my that, and that I really miss. You know what I mean? I wish my kids had more of that. And I wish I had it too, like family nearby geographically to like hang out with. And also penny candy from the pool.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Luckily, my dad still lives nearby, and I see him regularly. So that's cool. But
Yeah, you are lucky for that. My aunt
I
lives
know.
sort of nearby, so I see her. But other than that, my mom lives in Florida now, so I don't see her very often. You know.
And I'm Jersey and Philly, so like, we're kind of close. I still see them often.
Steve, do you want to do one more, or should we talk about Greg's future?
I think we could do. What do you want, Greg? Do you want to do one more and then talk about your future, or do you want to skip right to it?
I don't mind one more. We can do the yellow if that's all right.
Yellow, sunny yellow. Let's see what's in sunny yellow.
I like doing things in threes for this segment. I think it works best.
Okay. All right.
Chrissy's rolling her eyes internally right now at me.
No, I'm perusing the questions and, ignoring most of them. So
We gotta find a fun one. We had two
I
deep
know.
ones. We need
I know.
a
I'm
light
very,
one to end it.
very sorry they were deep and not very.
No, it's good that they're deep. I mean, it's good. It's good content, as they say. But we need something. We need something like maybe a little funnier right now.
All right. Well, I'm
Let's go.
trying. I'm trying to be funnier. It's just not working.
And there's a clip for a short right there.
Okay. Greg, I don't know if this is funny or not, but we'll see what happens. Greg, what is your favorite thing to cook? Spicy ramen, not spicy ramen. Do you
Thing to
cook?
cook, ramen noodles. I just love
Is
cooking.
it?
The just dried ones or like fresh.
I don't really know. I wouldn't consider that cooking. I wouldn't consider that cooking. I was trying to make a joke, not that funny.
Yeah, I know.
But when it comes to cooking, probably I'm always making rice and chicken, which is a Haitian dish, which is the common Haitian dish, and that's probably the main thing. Not too entertaining, kind of plain, but rice and chicken pretty much. But I might make some mussels. I might make some not make some mussels, but I might heat up some mussels. I might
I love mussels, actually. That's a good idea. I should cook some of those.
Yeah, so I throw in a little variety, but majority of it is rice. Whatever I'm eating is gonna have rice with it. That's the Caribbean in me.
Do you have like
Nice.
an awesome rice cooker, or do you do it on by hand on the pot or something?
Oh yeah, I do it in a pan. I've never used a rice cooker.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm not trying to be a snob or nothing. I'm no chef, but if you want to use a rice cooker, that's cool too. But I just grew up using the pan.
Wait, so
yeah.
do you use the rice that comes dry and then you have to get it with the water? I never get that right. I got to tell you. It's always messed up. It's always either too watery or not cooked enough or it gets mealy. I'm terrible with that rice, but
So it's putting the water with the rice, putting a nice amount, letting the rice soak the water up, and before you cook it all the way and let it go all the way down, you put a little more water.
Oh, see, there's a secret. So what kind of spices do you use?
I use adobo. Well, that's more seasoning, but it's more adobo. I would say I season it more than just spices. The spice I might add to it is just
how do
pepper.
you season it? Because my kids are always asking me to make them new things. I had to make jerk chicken, and then if I make tacos, they have to be sort of authentic-y. They're always they're a pain in my butt. But I mean, I guess we eat better, but they're a pain in my butt. So how do you flavor your rice?
So the water that you're boiling it in,
Yeah.
you add a mixture of salt or your seasoning right there. Give it a good taste, and that's where the flavor comes from. It's all in that water you're boiling it with, but not the water
So
that
do you put adobo in there?
Oh yeah, you put the adobo in there and a nice mixture of salt. Make sure it tastes good, of course. Give it a good taste to where you like it, but yeah, that you depending on that water to flavor the rice.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I don't think. Steve, did you know you flavor the water? I thought you just like flavored the rice after it was cooked. But see, that's
I
a good
knew
tip. I just learned something.
I knew that you could flavor water in order to get that effect. I didn't know that. I never thought to do it with rice because I'm not a very good cook, unlike Greg.
I'm not either.
Better than me. You're better than me. I What would I like to figure? I don't really cook very much. That's my problem. I'm trying to learn how to cook better. I really like Chrissie's cooking though because it's leveled up in the last year or two. And one of my favorite things is Super Thursday, which she hasn't done in a while, where she makes soup. And because I'm a big soup fan, and she
Super
makes really good.
Thursday. Yep.
She makes really good chicken soup and actually really good broccoli cheddar soup too.
Oh yeah.
And
I love both.
Yeah. Well, it was so I would work on Thursdays and the kids would have to like feed themselves. So soup is like, you just leave it on the pot on the stove and they just heat it up on their own. And I would leave some like crusty bread out and it was every week was Super Thursday. So,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Hey,
now they're sick
hey,
of Super Thursday, but whatever.
I
It'll
like
be
to-
back in the fall. So,
I would shred the cheddar. That was my contribution to the broccoli cheddar soup.
hey, that's as long as you something.
So there you go. That's my cooking soup with Chrissy.
Hey,
yep. There you go.
there you go. Don't forget the cheese.
Mm.
Oh, there's a lot of cheese in broccoli cheddar soup. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
it's a mountain of cheese.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of my favorites though. It tastes real good. I'm not mad at broccoli and cheese.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
So what about you,
my
Chrissy?
favorite thing to cook is actually birria tacos because I make them specifically with my daughter. So that's what I really like about it because we do it together. And man, do we make them brutally spicy. Well, for most people, not for Steve. He thinks nothing is spicy, but they're very good and they take a long time. It's like we actually call them 3-hour tacos instead
Yeah.
of calling them birria tacos. But they're fun.
Yeah, me. I too have not met the challenge of a spicy. And there's nothing spicy enough for me either. So I'm gonna take you to the challenge, Steve. So don't be surprised.
I'll take you up. Have you tried? Do you like Indian food? Because Lily's here in Jenkintown. I believe they have a spice level that's technically off menu called like Joe Duffy spice or something. Because our friend Joe Duffy, he apparently the way it went, he kept asking him to put more and more spice on it to the point now where I've been told, I haven't tried this yet, but if I ask for it Duffy hot, that I'll get something that is multiple levels beyond the hottest thing on their menu.
Wow.
So we'll see. But I do like them. I do think it depends on the dish, obviously, but they've been able to make stuff a little bit spicy for me.
Yeah, well, I like to put it to the test. I haven't had it, but I do love Indian food.
Oh, it's so good. Lily's is so good.
And it's flavorful. It's like a flavorful spice that I really like. So yeah. And I definitely have to try that Duffy out. I want to take it.
Nice.
Yeah, indeed. So I think with that we're gonna wrap up the a game called Something. That was a good game. That was a meaningful game.
Yes, fun game.
Meaningful. We're being poignant today.
But before we do the show wrap up, where can people find you, Greg? I'm going to bring up your website here for the viewers.
Yes. Well, just like you're showing right there, you can find me at gregsover.com. As you can see, it's Sover. For some reason, people say Stover or so right there, you can see how it's spelled. But and pretty much everywhere on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Anything on social media, Greg Sover, follow. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with me, and it's either me or the team controls it. So follow all.
Indeed, yeah, and I could see that you have a couple shows coming up. One at 118 North.
Yes, today 118 North. Come on out. We have Ryan Nelson opening up for us. So, it should be a good time. And I want to say next week as well, we're at the East Petersburg Blues Fest. I will be headlining there next week. I'm going to say around 4 o'clock. Come on out and join me and listen to some good music.
Cool.
Nice. Are you going to be playing Deserie?
I will be playing Deserie. Deserie, she's here for life.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So-
So, Steve, are you going to do our wrap it up here?
I am. I'm gonna
wrap
do it.
up.
So
Okay,
you, first off, please like and share and subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching the program on YouTube. It really helps us with the algorithm, believe it or not. And you can also find out what we're doing on the Instagram at Jenkintown Arts Garage, on Facebook at Jenkintown Arts Garage, on YouTube at Jenkintown Arts Garage. You can find our main website at jenkintownartsgarage.com. The website for this podcast, you can find the links to any place that you can subscribe to it is at jagcast.show. And if you like what we're making here, if you like this show, you want to support us a little bit financially, you can buy us a coffee by going to jenkintownartsgarage.com/coffee. And any amount would be great to help us pay the hosting costs and that kind of thing. But that's where you can find us.
Cool. So we should give a big thank you to Mr. Greg Sover, Stephen.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a blast. I love having you on, Greg.
Yes, thank you. Always good having or being here. Always.
Excellent. So hopefully we'll have you on again, maybe like 1 year later. To just keep doing it. Anniversary show with Greg Sover.
We meet up sooner. Let's not wait a year.
Yeah, that's no problem with me. Like I am down. Let's go hang out. And in the meantime, though, Greg, stick around because you get to hear a little bit more of our theme music by E.Joseph and the Phantom Heart with our ending outro music. So thanks again for being here, and I guess we'll see you all next time.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for having me. Oh yeah.
We're learning to break the ice.